What's something that terrifies you? Locked in syndrome. Cannot move your body, speak, do anything but think. I think you can move your eyes. Maybe. Otherwise you're completely at the mercy of your surroundings. If I ever get it, just kill me. Lou Gehrig's disease. The only thing my dad was able to do at the end of his life was breath and blink. Mentally 100% stable and aware of everything around him. So we communicated with him blinking. When his diaphragm went out, that was it. It was awful. Getting cancer again. I'm 7 years out from treatment. I've only recently been able to process the trauma. I'm terrified it will happen again to me. The ocean. The idea of being in open water in any capacity really scares me. I'm fine if I'm on a boat, but if I'm in the water I will lose myself. Blood clots. Aneurysms, anything that you can't really detect happening in your body until it's too late. In a 5-year stretch I knew 12 people who died of blood clots in their legs. 3 of them were related to dad and his 2 daughters. They all started out with a weird pain in their leg, then dead. I'm petrified of this. Whenever I get a leg cramp I freak out. One day, I'll die and I won't be there for my children. When they'll be sick, they'll be sad, and will need help. I lost my mom, my last remaining family member, just months before my first child was born, my beautiful daughter. This comment immediately made me cry. My mother wanted to be here to meet her grandchild so bad. I've been sick, and I've been so incredibly sad, but I will be there for as long as I can for my daughter. I'm sure you're a wonderful parent. Keep it up. Getting into a serious car crash. The impending collapse of the Earth's life support systems. My parents dying and leaving me with no one. Dying alone. Forgotten in a nursing home. I'd rather die on my own terms than be miserably sad and lonely and forgotten in a nursing home. It happens far more than people realize. My parents died when I was young. You think you won't survive, that you can't survive, but you get through it day by day. Unfortunately, I think about impending death towards everyone I care about, along with my own end. It's a daily occurrence. I'm comfortable talking about it, but my husband hates it if I linger on it. Losing my hearing. I woke up on my daughter's 3rd birthday, and I could not hear out of my right ear. I went to the doctor, and after looking at my ear he said he couldn't see anything wrong. He sent me to a specialist, but it was a 3-month waiting list to get in. When I finally did, she told me that I had got a viral infection in my eardrums, and if I had come to her in the first 2 weeks, she could have given me a steroid to knock it out. It took me years to get used to having to have people on my left side and using mouth movements to understand what people are saying. Needless to say, COVID has kind of made things worse since everyone has masks on. Now I have nightmares about waking up, having lost my hearing in the other ear. Doesn't sound scary, but trust me it is. Death. Yes, don't forget to appreciate how dead we could be right now. I was a bartender for a long time. Lots of cops and ambulance drivers reminded me all the time how abruptly it comes. Time is the most limited resource. It helps me to think of death as every second that has passed, enjoyed or not, as opposed to an event in the future. There were actually plenty of occasions I could have already died, so this could be considered bonus time. Compared to the history of human existence, this is a pretty nice opportunity to appreciate the gift of life. Also, most of the humans that have been born have also died, so you'll be in good company. Government spying on their citizens and social media basically manipulating people and making people addicted and affecting world news and politics and building a profile on you and selling your data to ad companies and governments. There's a really good documentary about that on Netflix with people who helped create them. There's been an incredibly horrifying rise in suicides and mental issues like depression, anxiety and loneliness since the inception of social medias. I have the most irrational fear, and it's brought on by my actual fear of enclosed spaces, claustrophobia. Anyways, my dad owns a gun safe that's quite large. I imagine myself going into it to grab something, the door swinging closed and locking me in while he's out of town and no one can hear me scream. It's a very tight space. Absolutely freaks me out to the point that when I think about it my palms get sweaty and I have to stand up and walk around and think of something else to overcome it. I have to bring myself back to the room I'm in. Kinbush thought that sometimes pops into my head. but sometimes I use it as a mental exercise, where I push the door open with ease, or I pass through the door like a ghost, or make the safe fall to pieces, as though it weren't a solid object. Usually I just try to avoid the thought. I feel this could be making my phobia, or even worse, those cave diving videos where people crawl through super tight spaces with no way to turn around, and with a line of people behind them. No way, I will never understand, and I really don't want to understand. I can jump out of planes, I can go 50+ miles per hour on a longboard, I can swim out into the ocean, I can fight, I can sleep alone in a house in a bad neighborhood lights out, but no, enclosed spaces are just the absolute worst thing I can imagine. Schizophrenia. I can't imagine not being able to trust my own brain and my own perceptions. Hey, I got schizophrenia 10 years ago. It is the worst I ever felt in my life. The good thing is that medication and therapy a lot of times can heal you, and even if it's not healing you, it can make things far better. The weeping angel game mechanic, as I like to call it. It's the game mechanic where the monster only moves when you look away, meaning the minute you lose track of it you're dead. The idea of the backrooms. The idea of what was before the Big Bang. Some may say God. Okay, let's say God kick-started the Big Bang. What was before God? And an even scarier thought, what happens at the end of eternity? Sure, you can think that an afterlife lasts more days than a Googleplex and even Graham's number, and experiencing that many days in the afterlife would feel like an eternity, but even that number would come to an end. Ghosts. I get most of you would say they aren't real, but I would absolutely crap myself if I seen one at the end of my bed at night. There's this one episode of Thomas and Friends called Thomas Comes to Breakfast. I seriously don't know why, but when I watch the episode I get a bit worried. So the episode is about Thomas deciding that he doesn't need a driver because he knows his branch line. So one day when no one was looking he decided to start moving. He was having fun until he started losing control. Then there was a house and Thomas crashed into it. It just gives me chills. The fact that I'm 21 and have never had a romantic relationship, have no plan for my future career, and could just die tomorrow without ever fulfilling anything I want to do with my life. I know I'm young, but that doesn't guarantee me anything. The crumbling of society around us. Too much pretending things are not what they are. Too much manipulation. Too many people playing games with other lives. I worry there will be a world for my kids, but that world will be full of terror. Also point spiders. Cancer. I've been through a lifetime of pain in my 30 years of living. Been shot at, in car crashes, seen people die. I was the one who discovered my grandma when she passed on Christmas 5 years ago, but the only thing that scares me is my oncologist telling me that my cancer came back. Driving, especially out of town. I do it every day in my own town, and have very few issues, although I do get a little nervous sometimes. But man, put me on a road trip even just 2 hours away, and I'm a nervous wreck. Unfamiliar traffic and driving conditions will never not scare the shit out of me. Oh, and heights. F heights. Bird faces, dinosaurs, no emotion. You have no idea what it's about to do. I think it's the unknown. Unreadability that gets me so badly. I just imagine it's gonna poke my eyes out any second because I moved my hand too fast.